Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Big Lee's Worlds Podcast. It is I, your host, Big Lee, coming to you once again live from the infamous Big Lee's Boom Boom Room right here in Cape Girardeau, Missouri. I hope everybody out there is trying to keep a sane mind as much as possible. I know right now it's kind of a crazy situation going on in the world today with all this scare of this coronavirus and everybody having to... well, I shouldn't say having to, but being recommended to stay in and kind of desocialize from everybody. So hopefully you're finding a great way to keep your mind busy and occupied and focus less on all the crazy stuff going on in the world today. I know personally that's one way I've been doing that is by getting caught up and watching a lot of wrestling. Especially independent wrestling on Indie Wrestling, IWTV, and that's kind of what I wanted to talk about today. I've been meaning to put this episode out for a few days now. I've just been kind of busy and in and out of it, kind of getting everything figured out, straightened out with, like I said, all the crazy stuff going on in the world today. So what I actually want to talk about was the last wrestling show I went to, and that was back a few days ago, March 1st, 2020. It was the Glory Pro anniversary show. And it was a great show from top to bottom, and I just kind of wanted to go over that and kind of go over some of the endeavors and adventures and experiences we had there. So let's just get right on into it. I know March 1st, it was kind of I don't want to say the prelude, but it was the start of all this whole virus thing going on, and I know that some people couldn't make it out. I know it was supposed to be a road trip with my good buddy Justin, and unfortunately he was feeling a little under the weather. And he could not make that show, so hopefully he gets a chance to catch it on IWTV. So it ended up just being me going there and ran into my good buddy Caleb Carter from Four Sides Podcast there. He's kind of in the same situation I was, you know. Not a lot of people was willing to make the drive from Cape to St. Louis for it due to all the crazy stuff going on, but... You know, us diehard wrestling fans, we're willing to make a trip, especially when the King comes to town. But we'll get to that here in a second. So I just kind of want to start out. Overall, easy trip up there. Ran into a little bit of road work. Nothing too crazy. Got there a little early, kind of because I forgot what time it started. And by the time I left a little earlier than I probably needed to. So... I probably got to the building probably about an hour before doors opened, so that was a little, it was a little time, good time to reflect, I guess you could say, and get in there. So it was a great experience. One of the first things I got to do was go in there and meet Chris Dickinson, which was one of the top reasons for going. He's a big GCW guy. Make sure you check his stuff out. Look him up on the social medias. Give him a follow. And that's kind of one of the things with this right now. Just a side note, indie wrestling's going through a tough period right now with this virus and a lot of shows and things of that nature getting canceled. So any way you can get a chance to help support one of these indie wrestling companies by subscribing to a subscription basis like this IWTV or going to the ProWrestlingTees.com store and picking up a t-shirt or something like that. Make sure you definitely go out and do that. Help support these guys and gals. They do a lot for you. They put their bodies on the line, and you know this is a lot of them is their primary source of income, which is now being interrupted because over this whole virus, government scare, things of that nature. So make sure where you can help support out and just give back to those that help provided you this entertainment. So, nonetheless, we get there. Like I said, we talked to Chris Dickinson. Super cool dude. Talked to Caleb. Ran into a couple of my buddies, Don and Rich, there. So, good seeing them. Great seeing them to actually make it out to a Glory Pro show. Got to hang with them for a little bit. Always good time seeing them. Shout out to Rich and Don if you're listening to this, man. Much love as always. So we're just going to get into it here. Like I said, this is the Glory Pro 3-year anniversary show, which you can now check out the replay on independentwrestling.tv. Make sure you hit up the Glory Pro socials if you don't have the referral code, if you need to sign up for an IWTV account and get their code so that you can get a couple days free and it helps support Glory Pro. So make sure you do that. But yeah, first up on the match listing here was Blair Onyx versus Kylie Rae. This was supposed to be Kylie Rae was a surprise for the show. they kind of hinted towards some surprises there, and she was one of them. I saw her out in the parking lot when I got there because, like I said, I got there so early, and it kind of caught me off guard first, and it was like, oh, wait, I didn't see her on the flyer. Then again, I was like, oh, wait, that was probably the surprise. So it's always great to see Kylie Rae on the show. First time seeing Blair Onyx. Kind of I'm not really too for sure about the gimmick. I think someone said it's supposed to be something like a spider. And then there was a spot in the match where, I don't know if it was supposed to be some kind of like exorcist thing or something like that, but overall it was a real entertaining match. Great way to start out the show, so definitely make sure to check that out and check both of those females out there. And like I said, it's an enjoyable match. Second match on the card, Alley Cat and Dan the Dad versus Danhausen and Elena Black. This seems like a really weird lineup to me as far as this match card goes, just because it's kind of like three faces and one heel. I'm actually a big fan of all four of these people in this match, so great to see them all work together. Huge Elena Black fan, huge Danhausen fan. Seeing them as a tag team was very entertaining. It was kind of definitely almost like a yin and yang of sorts, but definitely a lot of great entertaining spots there, and I honestly believe that Danhausen and Elena Black are going to be big breakout stars in 2020, so make sure you stay on the lookout for them, and make sure to support them. And also Alley Cat and Dan the Dad. Alley Cat's really been kind of breaking out and going to more places. Definitely a big follow in the GCW world, and this Dan the Dad gimmick, everybody seems to love it, so that's great. You know, there's a lot of hits, a lot of misses in the wrestling business, and the Dan the Dad gimmick definitely seems like it is a solid hit, so I'm looking forward to seeing more of that in 2020. Next up is Jake Lander versus Ethan Price. I'm going to be honest, I don't know much about the story here. I know that Lander is a protege of Jake something, and it was kind of his, I guess, just show off to Jake something what he could do with Ethan Price, which honestly I don't know too much about the guy. Something big, strong, something they called him. But he seemed to get over great with the crowd, and there's definitely some Jake Lander fans there, so it was a really good, solid back and forth, so definitely make sure to check that out. We get into next is the tag match, which was a four-way tag match with Holla Beefcake versus the Regal Twins versus Alpha Omega versus the 4-Star Heroes. Big 4-Star Heroes fan here. I know the whole St. Louis, Chicago thing. You know, it's a big heat getter for them, but Castro is a great wrestler out of Chicago. He's part of the 4-Star Heroes, fellow Hatebreed diehard, so that kind of bumps him up in my list there. A lot of entertaining spots once again with this, a lot of comedy with Holla Beefcake, so definitely check them out, and I think you'll thoroughly enjoy it. Next up was Seishin versus Hein, I think is how you say it. Seishin, Tootie Lynn Ramsey. Huge fan of hers. This was a great match. It was definitely a sleeper match on the card. I think that, and this is something I'll get into in a little bit here. I think that for as big as this card was, I think after that tag match, I think the crowd was really kind of wore down, and I think it kind of showed for the crowd reaction for the Seishin Han match, but it's definitely a great match and well worth checking out. Now, we're getting to the last match before intermission. This was a pretty long show, a lot of matches on the card, so, kind of splitting it out there, but yep. This was one of the big getters for me, and I go in a little bit more detail with it here, but it's the no DQ match. My boy KLD versus the King, the God, Nick Gage. Anybody knows me knows I'm a huge Nick Gage mark, Murder, Death, Kill Gang, MDK, all day. So, glad to see him in Glory Pro. This match blew my expectations out of the water. I just want to say, I was expecting a more of a strong style, just kind of a lot of hard-hitting blows back and forth, kind of what we've seen with Ricky Shane Page and KLD back at, Unsanctioned. I couldn't think of it. I've been watching all WCW all day today, so I was about to say uncensored, but unsanctioned out at Pops. So this, like I said, it blew my mind. Like how this ended up being, it started out in the back, and it went all over the building, outside. I don't want to give away some of the big high points of it, but like I said, it was a great, hard-hitting, I would probably, definitely a hardcore match. I would probably call it up there, quite frankly, almost a full-fledged death match. The only thing that I seen really missing from it being a full-fledged death match was glass. You know, if we had a couple of tubes in there, or maybe them pizza cutters. But otherwise, it was a great match. KLD picked up the win in that match, and it blew my expectations out of the water. I know I keep saying that, but honestly it was. And one of the big things from it is that KLD hinted at the next unsanctioned event, which is more their 18 and up, more adult-oriented style show. He invited KLD back. So that kind of opens up the door to me personally, like fantasy booking, you know, for the next unsanctioned, and KLD's there, and Nick Gage is there. Is it a rematch? Personally, I know what I would like to see with this, and I don't necessarily know if it would happen, or if it's close to happening, or it could be an option. But there's a spot in the match where KLD's old partner, Dan the Dad, kind of helps him out a little bit with the table, and that kind of made me think, you know, well, maybe instead of it being a rematch, what if we could get, you know, maybe a one-night reunion of No New Friends with Dan the Dad and KLD versus the new Hate Club of Nick Gage and Matt Tremont. It may be if they do the show back at Pops again, which hopefully they do because I love Pops, but they do this and it's a East St. Louis street fight, or a Pops death match, or something along those lines. So I think there's a lot of doors open with Nick Gage coming back. You know, the crowd seemed to really love him. For those that were, let me rephrase that. Those that were there to see Nick Gage really loved him. And that's another thing about KLD, is he has a strong fan base in the St. Louis area. And they were pretty diehard. And one of the guys on commentary actually had alluded to like almost a gang war style of the KLD diehards versus Nick Gage's Murder, Death, Kill gang. Which honestly, that doesn't seem far from what could have happened at some points there. I know the crowd was really into it, and they appreciated the effort from both guys, and they put everything out there on the line. I think it blew a lot of people's mind out of it. Glory Pro is more known to being a family-friendly. They're not really known for the ultra-violent blood and gut death match. So to actually get something like that as a surprise just made it even better. And I think, honestly, I was thinking about it on the ride home. I was like, man, I wished I would have knew ahead of time, like, this was going to be like more of a death match style and stuff like that. And then a couple days later, I was thinking about it again, and I was like, you know, I think it made it even more special going into it, not knowing that it was going to be a pseudo death match. It was going to, you know, still going into there thinking it was, you know, a no DQ, strong style, a little hardcore, nothing overly blood, guts, violent. And some of the spots in there definitely did not expect. So, like I said, it was a great treat, and I appreciate both of them dudes putting their bodies on the line, and for something like that, for us to really enjoy it, especially at the anniversary show. They put everything on the line, and I guess gotta say thank you to them for doing that. And then, like I said, from there, it's intermission. I actually spent most of the intermission waiting, wandering around trying to find where Gage went to talk to him for a little bit, and to get my 8x10 signed of us from where we had did the VIP for GCW back in Chicago, and I get a picture signed of me and him standing in the ring together with the GCW belt. So I ended up walking around and ended up making my way back close to the locker room backstage to where he was at getting ready, which leads to the second half of the show starting here. The Suge D versus Paco versus Mike Outlaw match. This match I missed most of because I was waiting backstage to talk to Gage, and once I started talking to Gage back there, the show had already started back. So I really need to go back and watch this because I'm a big Mike Outlaw fan, and just to see the ending of it with him and everything, like, it was a great match, so, or what I got to see of it, so I need to go back to IWTV and rewatch this, and make sure that if you've not seen the show yourself, you go to IWTV and make sure you watch the Glory Pro 3-year anniversary show. Keep calling it third year. So after that, we make it back to our seats, like I said, at the ending of this triple threat, and then we move into the big hoss fight of the night of Manders versus Baracus versus Clayton Gaines versus Jake something. Originally, AC Romero was supposed to be a part of this, and unfortunately he couldn't make the show because he had the flu. So as a last minute replacement was my boy Baracus, and it was great to see him there. I had just seen him the night before down in Charleston at CCW, so it's always great to see him back to back, and great dude. But yeah, this match, it was a hoss fight from beginning to the end. Definitely another sleeper card on the match, especially with the adding of Baracus there. And I think it's opened the door to a few other options there going forward with that. So definitely a good fight. One called Manders. Definitely make sure to start following him and check him out. He's doing some pretty big things right now, and I hope to see him back in Glory Pro pretty soon. St. Jake Something's been a stable there for a long time. He always does great work. Not too much known about the Clayton Gaines guy personally. It's not, we'll probably see more of him. I just don't know too much overly about him. So, moving on next is the tag match, the Besties in the World versus the Gym Nasty Boys. I will be honest, going into this, I had seen the Gym Nasty Boys once or twice on Freelance out of Chicago, and I've seen them a couple times with that, but I'm not overly a follower of them. Didn't exactly know too much about them going into this match, and this ended up being a great comedy style match. Ended up being Matt Fitch's birthday, so they definitely worked that into the match as well. And like I said, there was some great action to it, a lot of comedy. So if you're looking for something with a little bit of mixture of both, then definitely make sure that you check this out. The next match, which will be semi-main, Midwest Territory Championship match, Hakeem Zane versus Cody Lane. I believe, for what I remember from the November show, they recently had just started this Midwest Territory belt, and Hakeem Zane had won it in a tournament, if I remember right. So, honestly, another guy I don't know too much about. He went against Cody Lane. It's another up-and-coming guy. Honestly, not too familiar with. It was a good match back and forth. One of those things at this point, I really feel like the crowd kind of was wore out after the tag match with this. And like I said, with this being a big anniversary show, it's a lot of matches. The fans definitely got their money's worth. But I think the crowd was just kind of wore out with it. And maybe the crowd didn't get 110% what this match really deserved from the fans. So hopefully you can watch it back on IWTV and you can really enjoy it. With this one, there was a guy with Hakeem Zane who once Zane won, started cutting a promo against KLD. Dude says some crazy stuff that I don't want to repeat on here. He said some things that, even for someone like me, it was kind of a little edgy. Especially, he talked about a family member, KLD's dad, passing and kind of making some not nice remarks about it. And it was one of those things, like, that one hit home for me because, most of y'all know that my dad just recently passed away as well. And it's kind of a rough thing to hear. So, I know it's setting up for, I know they announced for their May show that I think the name's Kyram, something like that, is going to go up against KLD. So hopefully that will lead into another big war and violence, and kind of get him in line for saying some of the stuff he said. So make sure if you watch the replay, you'll see that on there, and make sure that you're ready for it. And like I said, I hope KLD busts his homeboy's head open for saying that stuff. So anyways, moving forward to the main event of the night, the Crown of Glory Championship match. Rich Homie Juice, AJ Gray, versus the Dirty Daddy, Chris Dickinson. This is another match that, actually I remember they announced this back in December, I believe it was, around the same time the KLD Nick Gage match was. And I remember when seeing both of these match announcements, I had texted my buddy Justin, who's supposed to go with me, and I told him, I was like, dude, I'm ordering tickets for this because, look, this is what's happening now. And I know originally the match was supposed to be AJ Gray versus ACH. Personally, for me, I know some people were really looking forward to that. To me, this is a much bigger, more entertaining for me and my interest personally of this match. This was a great match, a hard-hitting match. Everything you'd expect it to be. Nothing pulled back. You're going 110%, which I really appreciate it in this. And I think you'll notice this once you go back and watch it. At this point, it is the last match of 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11 matches on there. So I think you could definitely tell the crowd is kind of tired, kind of wore out and everything. So I don't feel like the crowd, once again with this match, gave it 110% of their energy towards the wrestlers, which sucks because this was a great match. So hopefully the fans that go back and watch the replay are even more appreciative of what these two did with the hard hits and everything. So definitely AJ Gray definitely pick up the win in that one. AJ Gray's another one of those guys who I remember seeing AJ Gray down in West Tennessee years ago. And since then, he's gotten a whole lot better. He kind of changed his style up a little bit, and he's really become more hard-hitting, more just overall a better athlete, and he's got a great future ahead of him. Like I said, I really like the work he does there at Glory Pro and at GCW. So another one of those guys that the future is bright for. That's what I could say about everybody on this card, basically, is that there's a lot of great talent on here, a lot of great future stars, a lot of great current stars on here that continue to work and continue to grow. And I look forward to seeing what comes in the future for them after this. So definitely keep up the hard work. And like I said, if you haven't got a chance to check out the show, Glory Pro 3-year anniversary, which I still want to call the Glory Pro 3rd-year anniversary show, make sure you go to IWTV, IndependentWrestling.tv. Some of y'all know it as Powerbomb.tv. Go there. Make sure you check it out. Make sure you go to Glory Pro socials and stay up to date on all their shows coming up. And just kind of give an overall final take of this show. Like I said, a lot of great surprises with it. I really enjoyed the show. It's probably one of the best Glory Pro shows I've been to outside of the Unsanctioned show. So like I said, I really enjoyed it. My only real, I don't want to say concern, complaint, or anything like that, because it sounds negative. And it's really not a negative. It's just that I'm old. But my thing is and I'd actually mentioned something to KLD about this after the show. I was like, man, the doors, this was a 2 p.m. door, 3 p.m. show on a Saturday, or on a Sunday. Let me take it back. And I think the last one I'd went to there, I think it was like a 1 p.m. door, 2 p.m. show start. And I'm really a big fan of the early afternoon show starting that way. Of course, I have a 2-hour drive back to Cape from whenever they run in Collinsville or Belleville. So it's definitely one of those things, if I can get out earlier, then that makes the show even better for me. And I think, honestly, with this type of card, as long as it was, I do think like a little bit of an earlier start time, or even maybe a second intermission, which I know contradicts the other statement of getting out of there early, but something to kind of give the fans a little bit of a break. I know it sounds kind of bad, but I think it's just with anything, especially in this day and age, that people attention span are getting shorter and shorter. by the generation. So I think sometimes we definitely may need 2 intermissions on a long show like this, but not like some of them shows where it's like a 7-hour show and like 15 intermissions, like over in Middle Illinois. But that's another story for another day. So, like I said, overall, great show. Make sure you check it out on IWTV. Make sure you follow We Are Glory. I think it's We Are Glory Pro on Twitter and Instagram. It may be that way on Facebook too. I'm not really for sure. I know Facebook's kind of doing weird things with how they label and locate their Facebook pages. Matter of fact, I still can't find the IndependentWrestling.tv Facebook page. I tried last night tagging a post for H2O's Hardcore Kingdom, and I could find it on Twitter and find it on Instagram, but yeah, like I said, Facebook's becoming a whole nother world out there. So, nonetheless, like I said, go out there, check it out. Make sure you check out all these great wrestlers, all their, follow their socials. Like I said, it's kind of a crazy time right now, so make sure to go out and any way you can support any of these talents coming out with their merch, or if they got a streaming Patreon, some of these shows, if they have a Patreon, or if they're offering a discount for on-demand videos, things of that nature, make sure you can throw a couple bucks their way, help them out. I know specifically KLD just put out that new shirt of his with that was made from this event. The bloody after effects of his match with Nick Gage. It's a pretty sweet t-shirt, so make sure you go over to Pro Wrestling Tees, pick that up. I think there's another site, it's called What a Maneuver. I believe that's where AJ Gray's merch is at. So yeah, just go through, like I said, check all these people's socials, make sure to support them how you can. Make sure to stay safe out there. I personally don't necessarily think the virus thing is as big as people say it is, or as the media is making it to be. I'm more concerned about the nutcases out there who are going to overreact to everything and make it a dangerous situation for everyone else out there. So if you're listening to this, make sure you stay safe. Be smart. Don't let this scare... How do I say this the right way? Don't let this scare take away from your life enjoyment. Enjoy life as much as you can, because it's one of those things, like I always like to say, you only got one shot at this life. Make it count. And I know right now some things may seem difficult, and I know some people say it'll get worse before it gets better. To me personally, it's just like, just keep a positive attitude. Keep working towards what you're wanting to do. Don't let the setbacks hold you back. Just keep pushing forward, and just be a good person, be a nice person. Support your friends. So support your wrestling fans, support your wrestling friends, support your podcast friends, support all your friends in the arts and the media. Help them out where they can, give them a post, a like, give it a share, Even if you can't right now, go out and buy a new wrestling shirt from one of these wrestlers. Give a retweet to their link. Write up a social media post. Just kind of help get the word out for them. Help them advertise. Like I said, there are ways to help without giving. If you can give, make sure to give. And just like I said, overall, be a decent person. Thanks for listening to this. I know right now, it's like I said, it's a crazy time out there. Wrestling podcasts may not necessarily be on your top priority. So if you check this out, I really appreciate the love and support. If you ever got any questions, comments, concerns about the podcast, make sure to shoot us an email at bigleesworld@gmail.com. Go ahead and give us a like and a follow on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Big Lee's World. And once again, thanks for supporting this. Thanks for giving us a listen. If you want to check out any of the back episodes, they're available on your podcast platform, wherever you're listening to this at, or at bigleesworld.com. And like I said, we hope to have some new content coming out for you shortly here. And like I said, just thanks for the support. Be safe out there. Be smart. Be kind. Help your friends. Support your family. Take care of one another. We appreciate it. Much love as always. Have a great night. 2 scoops of whoop. Whoop, whoop.